I took on the role of national chair in very interesting times. The year was 2011, and we have to understand where AIBC was, where AIBC was coming to. AIBC, thanks to the great work of Neville Roach and his colleagues, had achieved a lot. But the governance structure of AIBC needed a change. It was an unincorporated association in New South Wales, and it really needed to be a national body. So in some sense, my role was to undertake a governance reform, which actually was more complicated than we think. We had to go through 2 attempts at changing the constitution, which we finally were successful in doing, with more than 500 members from around the country. And we incorporated AIBC as a company limited by guarantee. And that, I feel, was one of the great achievements of AIBC in 2011. There were a few others. As you know, the challenge that India and Australia business community have always faced is that there is so much potential, but we had never explored the possibilities, and the potential had not been achieved. We were coming into 2011 after some hiccups. There were the student attacks, which did create some tension in the links between the communities in India and Australia. We had the issue of the sale of uranium. And all these things actually came to a head in 2011, and the 2 countries and AIBC definitely made a progress. AIBC was on the table when the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement was launched in Canberra during the visit of the Indian Trade Minister, Mr. Arun Sharma, and that was a proud moment for AIBC. AIBC also assisted the then High Commissioner, Honorable Sujata Singh, in her advocacy for the reversal of the sale of uranium to India, which the Labour Party at its annual convention in December overturned. And that was a great achievement for the High Commissioner then. And also AIBC played a small part in providing the business advocacy for such a move. And finally, and it's on a more personal basis, the student attacks of earlier years had caused a lot of tension. In my own personal role, the peak news item during the attack was when Amitabh Bachchan declined to receive an honorary doctorate from QUT. But to his credit, and to the work that India and Australia did to mend the relations after the student attack, he did come to Australia. And in 2011, that same year, he did receive his honorary doctorate. In some way, it was a symbolic end to the student tension. So although the purpose of 2011 for AIBC was to undertake governance reform, but in some ways, it actually became witness to a number of landmark events in the Australia-India relationship. AIBC is playing an important and mature role in achieving the potential in business linkages between India and Australia. Under the leadership of Jim Varghese, there are committees in different sectors that are engaging with their counterparts in India and identifying opportunities for better business relationships. We also have to understand that the Peter Varghese report, the landmark Peter Varghese report, provides a framework by which the businesses can work together. And AIBC is doing an excellent job in terms of advocating for better relationship within that framework. And I see that there is better awareness about the opportunity that India presents amongst the Australian business community. And similarly, Indian businesses do see the complementary capabilities that Australia provides. So I think AIBC in its 35th year is playing the role that its founding set itself out to be. I think business links between Australia and India are a very important role, but the relationship between India and Australia is more nuanced than just the business relationship. And I think we are entering a very interesting phase in geopolitics. There, of course, are the issues of geopolitics, the values of democracy that like-minded nations will work together. And that provides a very important, significant collaboration opportunity in terms of how we shape the global world order and the global society in the future. And I think being of similar minded and values, I think Australia and India have a great partnership in this area, and the business will have to play a role. But we're also entering a phase where we have noticed now the systemic challenges that are facing the globe, whether it is climate change or preparedness for pandemics or dealing with pandemics. And I believe that we have to move away from merely looking at sectors as a point of collaboration between India and Australia. But what AIBC will be doing in the future is working with different stakeholders to look at the systemic challenges, whether it is climate change, which faces immense challenges for the world and for both Australia and India. How do we look at innovation? How we look at business community to identify common goals of the energy transition that we face? So there are great business opportunities. The pandemic has shown another dimension. Australia has done extremely well in the public health measures in terms of avoiding serious illness and death. India has had its challenges, but India is also a country with significant manufacturing capability, and the role that India has played in exporting vaccines to the less developed parts of the world is something that history will remember. How do we combine Australia's public health capabilities, its research and innovation, with India's scale in manufacturing is another opportunity that is likely to be there for us. And so I see the next years will be AIBC working with other stakeholders to collaborate on some of these global systemic challenges facing society.